T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Mess with the wrong melon farmers. Thug life. And here we go.
I prayed that he would burn in hell, but in my heart, I know that hell will not have him.
You are all my children now.
Then I will avenge his death.
Hello, Sydney. Are you The Force will be with you, always.
Wish I had you all alone, just the two of us.
On Halloween 1963 in Haddonfield, Illinois, 6-year-old Michael Myers murdered his own sister in cold blood. But it was 15 years later, on Halloween 1978, that the legend of the Myers murders was born. Having escaped protective custody, Laurie Strode as the sole survivor.
What's the boogeyman? What's the one where that stupid little kid believes? I totally believe in the boogeyman. I wish I had you all along.
How you doing?
Good, how are you? Hey, Grandma.
I am not your grandma.
Ellie! What the fuck?
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Movies and Beyond. Once again, I am Michael, and today is Sunday. We are still in our Halloween celebration month. With me, as always, is Mad Matt from Mad Matt's Mask. JT was supposed to be here with us tonight, but something came up last minute. He's not able to make it. But Matt, what is up, my man?
Not much, buddy. Actually, we're just now starting the month, right?
Yes, sir. October 1st.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. I absolutely love October. I love Halloween. I love the movies we're going to be covering today. So I'm ready to get to go back and forth with you on that. Yeah. And if you remember, Michael, I believe the Rob Zombie Halloween movies really are one of the first, pair of movies that you and I kind of bonded over. You reached out, with how you felt, and we kind of, did our little back and forth, and became a good horror.
It was probably at the shop, like when I first started going up there, like, hey, what's your favorite Halloween movie? And you know what I mean? And it probably went from there for sure. Right. It's probably been close to a year almost at this point, right?
Wow. Yeah. Time goes, man. That's wild. That is wild. But,
well, I mean, even in, I was talking about time earlier today, you think about when we talked originally, just something about like Scarefest. It feels like we got tickets. We both got our tickets at the same time in January for Scarefest. And it's 2 weeks from Friday. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm kind of getting chills about Scarefest, man. And we've been to some shows. But I just have a feeling that this is going to be the show of all shows.
Oh, 15th anniversary, dude. You know what I mean? I did see that Roger L. Jackson canceled, though. That happened.
Yeah.
But
that sucks. That sucks. But yeah, man, you press on. And I always keep up a hope. Well, when a star cancels, they usually try to get back, man. So be patient. I know there's a lot of people that want to, meet him, get his autograph, whatever it is. He'll be back.
Yeah,
he'll be back. But man, that's Ghostface, if you ask me, man. He's always been the voice, throughout the franchise. I know there's guys that were in Great Kills, this, that, and the other. But man, that's Ghostface, if you ask me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely one you want to meet, whether you're a Scream fan or not. The voice is iconic, right? At this point. Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
let's see who we got. Yeah, definitely. Let's see who we got in the chat with us tonight. One of my moderators, Lydia, is in the chat saying, "Howdy ho, officers. What's up, Lydia? What is going on?"
Hello, Lydia. Hello.
Another one of my mods in the chat, Bye-Bye Polar, saying, "Hey, everyone. What is up, Polar? What's going on?"
Great to see you always, Polar.
Danny and Deontay After Dark's in the chat saying, "Hello, everyone. What's going on? What's going on?"
Danny and Deontay, welcome to Movies and Beyond. I got the pleasure of meeting these two at the booth. They'll be starting their own channel soon. I wish you all the best of luck. Michael, he has all the answers, all the questions. If you got anything about that, he is the man. I hope you do display your Chucky that you picked up behind you, and that's going to be awesome. But welcome.
My newest mod is in the chat, Jerry Wilson, saying, "Hello, all. What is up, Jerry? What's going on, my man?"
Good to see you, Jerry.
Wayne Turner's in the chats saying, "Hi, all. It's 10:59 a.m. Monday here in Sydney, Australia. A long weekend. Will evil die tonight? Most importantly, will my hangover die tonight?" What is up, Wayne? What's going on, my man?
Good to see you, Wayne.
And James has entered the chat. The Shape's in the chat saying, "Hi there, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend." What is up, James? What's up, my man?
Great to see you, James. I hope you have your Rob Zombie coveralls on as we speak, my man, because that's what we're getting into, buddy.
Callie Duff's in the chat saying, "Hi, what is up, Callie? What's going on? What's going on?"
Hello, Callie.
And Dino's in the chat saying, "What's up, everyone? What is up, Dino? What's up, my man?"
How you doing, Dino?
Russell Dorsey's also in the chat saying, "What's up, everyone? I smashed that like button before I came in this awesome stream and chat. Happy Sunday, everyone." Happy Sunday, Russell. What's up, my man?
You're the man, Russell. You're the man.
Got quite a few thug lives in here. That's what I'm talking about.
I love how Russell comes in, man. It never gets old. I love it.
I'm awesome. Darkroom Secrets is in the chat saying, "Hi all. What is going on? What is going on?"
Hello, Kim. Welcome. Always good to see you.
Let's see, who else do we have in the chat here?
I love that clown on her icon. I freaking love it.
Clowns have always made me feel a certain way. I can blame, the original Stephen King It for that. Seeing that when I was younger definitely made me feel a certain way about clowns for sure. Teresa Stevens, aka Mad Mom, is in the house saying, "Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday." What's up, Teresa? What is going on?
Hello, mother. Welcome.
John is in the chat saying, "What up, peeps? What is going on, John?"
John, good to see you, my good friend. Always.
Kim is also in the chat saying, "Hi, all. I hope everyone had a great weekend. So far, so good." What's going on, Kim?
Yeah, a great weekend. And same to you, Kim. Same to you.
My Chunky Jordy's in the chat saying, "Hi, everyone. What's going on? What is going on?"
Hello.
Just usually when I think I have everyone.
I love it.
Oh, I do want to share this right here. Lydia's put this in the chat to support Halloween Lives, Brandon's project. He has a new Indiegogo campaign trying to just add on to the funds already made for that. If you haven't checked it out yet, please do. Lydia has been nice enough to post the link in the chat. Let's definitely do our best to try to support Brandon so this film can get made for sure.
Yeah, that is awesome. Thank you, Lydia, for doing that.
And I think that I have... Oh, nope. 1 second.
Don't want to leave anybody out here.
Yeah, I know. I've definitely... And these guys, man... Before we get in here, these guys are going. There's definitely a lot of chat to go through.
And that's what this is about. We are, Michael. We are, man. We're building our own small little horror community here, and I love it. Our people are awesome.
Definitely. Let's see. Darian Lowe's in the chat saying, "Hi, Matt."
Oh, Darian, man, great to see you on here, buddy. Hello.
Ryan Frames in the chat saying, "Heck yeah, we are ready for Scarefest." Excellent.
That is awesome, Ryan. I'm so glad that you're going to be up there at Scarefest, man. It's good to see you on here, my friend.
Byron Weaver's in the chat saying, "Are you guys going to Spooky Empire?" I am not, and I'm not exactly. Where is Spooky Empire, Brian? Where or Byron? I'm sorry. Where is that? I have heard the name.
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
Is that East Coast?
I've heard the name as well. But other than that, I don't know Jack. So, yeah enlighten us. Sounds awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
But usually when you get real excited, it's super far away.
All right, I think I got everyone. If I did not get you, just go ahead and throw another comment up there and say hi, and I will definitely get to you. Sometimes StreamYard doesn't transfer all the same chat that's on YouTube. Sometimes it gets lost in there. So if I did miss you, it's definitely not intentional. But I definitely will. I definitely want to make sure that I get to everyone here in the chat for sure. And before we go any further with that, Matt, I do want to give a big shout out to all my Patreon members and give them their moment to shine. All right. While we were in, showing all the Patreon members, and if you haven't had a chance to check out Patreon yet, Lydia has posted the link in the chat. We're definitely doing some great things over there. So if you do want to support the show, support the channel, Patreon's the best way to do that. Hopefully the channel will be monetized here within the next, I'm thinking, month, maybe month or so, month and a half, depending on, how long, with the break for Scarefest and everything. I would say before December, we should be monetized and I'll be able to offer channel members and things like that. But as of right now, if you want to support the channel, Patreon is your best bet. And Lydia has posted the link below there. Thank you, Lydia, for that. Teresa is saying, Michael, can you mention that we have all the new Rob Zombie masks from Trick or Treat in the shop and all the TCM masks too?
Heck yeah.
Everyone, they have all the new Rob Zombie masks and Trick or Treat Texas Chainsaw masks too in their shop.
We do, guys. We do. We're very excited about that. They lost their license a while back to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so you couldn't get a mask unless you wanted to pay like $300. So they're all back in, guys. Up there at the shop, they are all in, as well as all the new Rob Zombie. There's 4 of them. We've got them in there. So yeah, come get them while they last. They've also they've already sold out of the Rob Zombie, which is the fastest, Michael, I've ever seen a mask sell out in my entire life. But yeah, guys, we got them. So come check those out.
Crazy.
Incredible too. So Michael, you want any of those, you give me a holler, buddy. I got you, man. I got you.
I'm good, buddy. I appreciate it though, for sure. For sure. Byron Weaver is saying that it's going to be in Orlando. That's right. It is a Florida event. No, I'm not going. I would love to go. But definitely not going to make that one for sure.
And let us know. If you're going, Byron, keep us informed. Let us know what that was like. For sure. I'm interested.
Yeah, I know that usually the ones, if I'm not mistaken, Byron, isn't Andy Matichek going to be at that event? I thought I remember someone telling me they were going to a Florida event to meet Andy Matichek from Halloween. Let me know if that's the same event that I was talking to someone about.
Now, who was he, Michael?
She is in Halloween 2018. She plays Karen's daughter, the main girl, Allison.
Oh, okay. What's her name again?
Yeah. Andy Matichek.
Okay.
Yeah, she plays Allison. Now, I'm not positive if that's the same event, but I'm pretty sure that she was going to be in an event in Florida here coming up soon. So
I thought she was absolutely phenomenal.
She's great.
Yeah.
She's definitely great. I was kind of hoping that she would take over the Lori role, you know what I mean, moving forward in Halloween's, but I mean, it doesn't really look like they're even going to continue with that timeline. So
yeah, I would have been absolutely fine with her taking that role for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Lydia is saying it looks like she is going to be there. I just looked up their guest, and Elvira. Damn it! Yeah, I was lucky enough to talk to Elvira in Arizona.
That's right. You were.
When I went there. She was super cool. Elvira was awesome.
Yeah, I'm jealous of that, Michael.
Talking to her was like talking to like a horror goddess. You know what I mean? It's freaking Elvira, dude. I think I stumbled over all my words trying to talk to her. It was just ridiculous. Like up, Elvira, hi. And
I've only heard, just like what you said, I've only heard great things about that woman.
For sure.
Hopefully, I can get a chance to meet her.
It's been kind of a big week in news for Halloween, like over the last 7 days or so. Have you heard about them coming out and talking about bidding out, Halloween, and that there's people like A24 that are trying to bid on, Halloween, a TV show and a movie at this point?
I have, Michael, but I'm just that guy. Because being in a horror shop, yeah, you hear tons of stuff. I just you don't know what to believe and not to believe, and you have people coming in all the time saying this is set in stone, man. This is what's going on, and it completely is false. And then sometimes you overlook it, and they're spot on. So yeah, I've heard it all. I heard someone saying that A24 actually got it nailed down. I don't know.
So I think that, here's the, good God. Sorry, I didn't mean to get off. I just saw this comment by Lydia. I'd love to go. I just saw Kiefer Sutherland is going to be there too. See, dude, that would be perfect on my Lost Boys poster. You know what I mean? That would be absolutely awesome. Yeah. Now I want to go to Spooky Empire, but that's not going to happen. But what I was talking about before with, Halloween stuff, they're talking about a TV show. The fact that they came out and said, hey, people are bidding on Halloween. The first thing I thought was, yeah, no shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's not really news. You think about the amount of money that the last trilogy generated. I mean, they spent $10 million on the first, Halloween 2018. They pulled in 255.6. They ended up spending 20 on kills and pulling in like 133. They ended up spending like 33 on ends and pulling in over 105. So, if you talk about those movies combined, you're looking at probably close to what, $500 million, roughly close to, and they only put in what, 10, 20, 30, 60, 63. So, I mean, the profit margin is there. Of course they don't get all of that money, but
there's enough to go around.
It's enough to pay off whatever they paid for Halloween, to get the rights. The theaters ate good off of those, things. And then, they made plenty of money off of it. So it didn't surprise me that they said, hey, they're shopping Halloween around. It's like, yeah, I probably knew that while I was watching Ends. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
you have already made the money. Even with 18, you've already made the money. So it doesn't surprise me. As for A24, now there's things that I've heard, and then things that I've read. So I do know that I think A24 was bidding on a show, like a streaming show. And I think that Paramount and Miramax were bidding for a movie, if I'm not mistaken. And it's funny that Miramax does own part of Halloween, but yet not enough to not just have it. So they have to bid on it as well. And not just say, hey, we can make this movie, because Trancas International owns, most of Halloween. So Miramax is just in the running as well to bid if they want to make a Halloween movie. So it's definitely difficult, and I probably won't do another stream on it until we get some definitive that I see in writing. Hey, this is coming out, or this person won the bid for this. I don't like to do, hearsay reporting. If I hear somebody else say something, then I'll come out like, well, so-and-so said, I'd rather read it somewhere. And if it is true, it will be, out somewhere on who got what. So
I don't know
man.
how I feel about Halloween being a show. I just don't know how I feel about that.
I have a feeling that if it is a show, it's not going to be Michael kills a new group every episode. I probably, what? I don't even know.
Yeah, you got to really, I hope they really know what they're doing, because it doesn't sound easy to make that work whatsoever. So, not saying I'm not saying it can't.
If they keep it in that kind of like that Haddonfield, like sideline, like maybe you look at, what Michael went through in Smith's Grove, or other people that were in there, or there's a lot of different directions they can go with that. I would save the big Michael stuff for the big screen. You know what I mean? Because he's proven to have made money on the big screen. So I would probably save all my best stuff for that too.
The words that came out of your mouth are pretty interesting there, because I've heard it a lot now, and as far as wanting to know what it was like Michael's time in Smith's Grove, I've heard that from just a lot of different random people. So I believe that's something we will get eventually, because that's an interesting route to go with Halloween.
It probably, in my opinion, it'd probably be the things going on around him, because in my mind, now this is my mind, like I'm a big fan of the original. And, if you remember in the original Halloween, Loomis is like, he didn't do nothing but stand there and stare. He looked
right,
at the wall, past the wall, beyond to this night. So to me, it's just like, you know, in a show about Smith's Grove, he'd just be standing there looking at a wall the entire time, or sitting there looking at a wall.
And
So
now Loomis wasn't there all the time, I'm sure. So there's, he's going to have his interaction with guards and stuff. But yeah.
I just feel like he was just, you know, basically catatonic, and I definitely don't know how they would do that, but hey, you never know.
And they even hint at that in the Rob Zombie. They're like, he's been like a, what do they say, a comatose, patient for 15 years or something. So yeah, don't seem like he's done a whole lot in Smith's Grove.
Right. Wayne Turner is saying that I would love to see James Wan and Leah Whannell make a new Halloween movie together. Thoughts on who people would like to make new Halloween movie? Wow, man.
I'm a James Wan fan, man, for sure. What do you think about that, Michael?
I got to think about that. I don't want to just blurt out the first answer.
James Wan aside, like, is there someone that you have in mind?
Well, that's what I'm thinking about.
Okay.
It's like, who would I trust, with that franchise? Like honestly, when 18 came out, I was really happy with what David Gordon Green did with it. I don't know. I just hope whomever it is, they're not looking at it as it just being a job, but they're also a fan of the franchise. I think that's very important. The person making it is also a fan, because that's when you're going to get the love that you want to see in a Halloween movie for sure. Wayne is also saying an anthology show, and that's kind of what I was, leaning towards. But if you really look at it, I mean, the amount of Halloween anthology movies that are out there already, like when Halloween 3 came out, yeah, it was an anthology movie. Okay. But if you look at the amount of Trick or Treat 2's coming out soon, you've got things like VHS, it's just like, I feel like there's an abundance of Halloween anthology stuff already. And I don't know if, I just don't know if we would want to just flood the market with something we already have with a name as big as Halloween. So I don't know about that. I
have to say off the bat, I just prefer Halloween as a movie. Just get the right people, like you said, a fan behind, on board, not someone that's just looking at the dollar signs of it. But yeah,
I want somebody that's not afraid to go back. Because I really don't see Michael going forward at this point, unless you start it all over and Michael is, to the current time. You know what I mean? So,
and done right, going back works. If I'm not
does.
mistaken, it just worked for Saul. Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of people are saying that Saw movie's pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
Lydia's saying, I'd like to see Marcus Nispel take a swing at Halloween. Okay.
I don't know who that is. I'm not the best with all the names.
Byron Weaver is saying Season of the Witch, an anthology series that would pick up after the events of Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Yeah, maybe. I know that it does have a fan base, and it is a decent sized fan base. I don't know, maybe.
For Season of the Witch?
Yeah. Like a TV show.
They do have their fan base.
Russell Dorsey is saying Michael Myers needs to be on the big screen, not the TV. And yeah, dude,
I agree.
He's proven to make the money there. But I mean, let's say A24 gets the show. What do they do with it? That's the biggest thing. Like, what do they do with it? Because A24 has a lot to do with the new Crystal Lake series coming out. I'm sure that will be out well before the Halloween show comes out. So I'm curious to see what they do with Crystal Lake. And then I'll, try to decide on whether or not if I think it's a good idea that they mess with Halloween for sure.
And that's interesting too, because, I don't know if I can really explain why, but I'm fine with Friday the 13th doing a series, but I'm sketchy about Halloween. I don't know why that is. I just think I think it would work better with Jason. I'm so excited about I know that's not what we're talking about tonight, but man, I'm so excited for the Crystal Lake series. I know you are, Michael, too.
Well, with the writer's strike being over, it's like, where are we? I want to know everything.
Yeah.
Like, where are we now? And I'm not seeing anything on it. So,
Yeah, give me some Pamela, man, and the camp, and oh man, I think that you can do so much. It's so wide open.
Yeah, for sure. Byron is saying information, a 10 episode anthology series about silver shamrocks would be cool to see. And honestly, I think with today's technology could be really good and you could do so much with it. Yeah. I mean, it could be, like it does give me a, there are a lot of possibilities with that because my mind's kind of racing with that for sure. Definitely for sure.
I personally don't want to see another silver shamrock in my life, but just the whole 3 didn't do it for me. But I know a lot of you guys love it. That's cool.
I definitely would be open to see what they would do with it. Just, what they would do with it. That way, you're not putting Michael on the small screen, so what are their plans with it? Like, yeah, it's possible. It definitely is possible. He's also saying if not AMC, it would have to be on a streaming service like Paramount Plus. Yeah. I mean, something like that. You
imagine being able to come home and you're like, well, do I want to continue my Friday the 13th series this evening or my Halloween series? But like, dude, how cool is that? Like, that does sound pretty awesome.
Yeah. John is saying Jordan Peterson's Halloween. That'd probably give you another take on it for sure. He's definitely proven himself to do stuff like that. We'll see. James is saying, please don't put Halloween in a TV series. That would suck. Keep it in theaters.
I tend to agree with you, James, for sure, buddy.
Wayne is saying, I want to see Michael Myers rampage at a college. kind of like H2O, only a little older. Something like that. Byron is also saying it's just me, but if Halloween 3 Season of the Witch came out today, it would do a lot better compared to when it came out back in 1982. And I think the biggest problem with, it coming out in 1982 was they didn't make it apparent that it wasn't the third, movie in a series of Michael Myers.
They sure as hell didn't, Michael.
So I think that was its biggest, issue. And I think that a lot of people are going back now and watching it like, oh, now that I've accepted the fact that Michael's not in it, it's not a bad movie. So I like it. I think that was their biggest problem with, the way they released that movie.
Yeah, a heads up would have been nice.
Yeah. By the way, Michael's not in this one, or just, yeah. Russell is saying a sequel of Season of the Witch would be better than a TV series. It needs to be on the big screen. Oh, well, hey. I don't know. I do not know.
How did we get into so much Season of the Witch stuff?
Going on to the TV series, I think that more people are wanting to see Season of the Witch, as a TV series.
I could see that. I could see that for sure.
James Wan is perfect for Halloween. That's definitely.
I entertain that.
I would be curious because oh yeah, I mean he did Saw, so yeah, I mean that would be huge news, right? Someone came out and said, "Hey, James Wan's doing the next Halloween."
Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
I'd definitely be excited for sure, 100%.
How about 100%. Eli Roth?
Eli Roth?
Yeah,
I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. Like I like a lot of Eli Roth stuff. I don't know. I don't know if Halloween would be his niche, but it would interest me. It would. He knows shock value,
right?
Very well. So.
Hell yeah.
But it's gonna be exciting, guys. Like the not knowing, and. I'm going to watch whatever they put out with Halloween, whatever. So,
Russell is saying horror icons need to stay on the big screen.
Yeah. But I'm super excited about the Jason. I am, man. And that's an icon for sure.
I think it'll be a good test. I mean, we've already got Chucky, in a streaming show.
It seems to be working.
That seems to be doing good. So let's just see. You know, we've got the third season of Chucky coming out. Let's see what Crystal Lake looks like, and we'll just hope, keep our fingers crossed that, you know, if they say they're coming out with a show and a movie, that's cool because you're gonna get your movie and you're gonna get a show to watch. I mean, like one, not like the other, like them both or don't like them both. You know, it's kind of like it's like Star Wars at this point. You know, you've got tons of shows to choose from. You know, they're making trash movies though. If it weren't for the shows, you know, I'd be feeling horrible. You know, it's
you know,
they're doing good with that.
We're never gonna like them all, man. You know, we're never gonna like them all, but bring them on. You know, I didn't like Halloween Ends, but a lot of people did. That's great. You know, and that's just how it goes. You're never gonna like it all.
Yeah, for sure. I get it.
You're very lucky.
Dark Witch is in the chat saying, hello, everyone. What's going on? What's going on?
Oh, hello.
Let's see. James is saying, why not make Michael X Halloween in space?
No, James. No.
Hey.
No.
Hey.
No. Uber Michael.
Oh God.
I could see that being a cool mask. Done right. I can see it.
You know, at one point, have you ever seen or heard of or read Taking Shape Part 2? It basically goes over all the unmade Halloween movies, you know, all the scripts.
No, I remember you talking about that. It sounds cool as hell.
And they were talking about the Hellraiser Halloween crossover. You know, it talked about some of the scripts where, you know, they had a couple cool ideas, right? And one of which I didn't think was a great idea, was Michael becomes a Cenobite, and he comes up out of hell, and like his mask is like fused to his face with like, you know, all this stuff coming out and everything. And, you know, in the end, he goes back to regular Michael. Cool. Yeah. But I would be curious, because it's not like there were any illustrations. I would be curious to what they had in mind, you know, for that. But one of the scripts that I really did like in there, and, you know, maybe I'll do a short video on this at some point. But they had Halloween versus, you know, Hellraiser, you know, Pinhead versus Michael. And one of the things Pinhead was doing was traveling through time to Michael's like key kills throughout the Halloween franchise and taking them away from him. Like he transports back to like Halloween 1 before Michael kills Annie in the car, and he kills Annie before Michael can get to him.
Sounds like a good move, man.
Just taking away kills from Michael like throughout time. And I thought that would be tough to do on a screen, especially for when they were making that movie. But at the same time, it was just like, that might be kind of cool to see like Annie again getting into a car, but she doesn't quite make it because Pinhead shows up and kills her. You know, like little stuff like that. And it was like kills throughout the series that Michael was about to get, but Pinhead came and ruined and killed the person first. Yeah. So that was one of the other ones I read, and I'll definitely reread that, and maybe I'll do a video on that to see if anyone would be interested in that for sure. Definitely for sure. Lydia's put up in the chat, you can follow Mad Matt's Mask and keep up with the new items coming in at the shop, and she has the link below for his Facebook page. They're always putting new videos up there of things that they're getting into the shop. If you are interested in checking that out, check out that link right there and check it out on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. You're all welcome, and thank you, Lydia, very much for putting that up there. That is awesome. You know, it's a lot of fun.
James is saying Michael kills everybody on the International Space Station.
Man, my mind's still in that Hellraiser thing, man. At first I thought it sounded dumb, but now I'm like, you know, so like Dick Warlock's getting ready to put the chick in the hot tub, and Pinhead just comes out of the water and like says, "Nope, not today." Like,
or Michael just goes into the room and they're both dead already. You know what I mean? It's just like,
I'm a huge fan of both. Those are two killer icons. You know, and I feel like, you know, I feel like Doug Bradley's got another run in him. I really do. You know, he's getting up there, but man, the guy looks fine. He looks good.
Wayne Turner saying Halloween, the traveling hobo. Each episode goes into, or he goes and murders in different locations. Examples: college, the hood, a big city. You know,
traveling hobo. Oh man.
I just picture him looking like Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, Michael, doing that. You know what I mean? Having like the hood up, the long beard, the long hair, and doing it that way.
I didn't care for that look whatsoever.
Byron, we were also saying Halloween Reborn, a sequel that would pick up after the events of Halloween Ends. That's my pitch if a movie had to be made, or maybe H3 TV series. It's like, but where do you go after Ends is my question. Like, he is dog food at this point. You know, I almost think that as much as I'd like to
go back, man, I think they need to go back.
As much as I'd love to see, you know, Allison and to keep going with that story, because remember, she leaves Haddonfield at the end. It'd be a tough sell for me. Like, it'd be tough to see how they would do that right, unless you want to continue on with the Corey Cunningham as Michael, but he would be maskless because Laurie kept the mask if he woke up from having his neck broken and got out, you know, while they were killing Michael. It'd definitely be tough.
I'm struggling to entertain any of that, honestly. And there were so many great characters in that trilogy, you know, down to Cameron and Lonnie Elam, and I'd like to see too, but I just don't know how you'd make it work. You know.
Yeah.
I was just watching Midnight Mass, and I saw the guy in there that played Lonnie Elam, and I thought that was very cool. Did you ever get to see that one, Michael? Midnight Mass?
I don't think so. What's it about?
It's definitely worth a watch. They're on the island, and they lose their pastor, and they get a replacement, and can't tell you too much aside from that, and things start getting very weird. And it's got phenomenal acting, great twist. It's definitely worth a watch.
Oh yeah.
Same guy who did Haunting of Hill House and Bly Manor.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Remind me before we log off of here when we go backstage. Remind me of the name of that. I'll definitely check that out for sure.
Yeah, I was watching that, and I was like looking. I was like, dude, that's Lonnie Elam. Like, and that dude can act, man.
Small world, right?
Yeah,
small world.
I love seeing other people, from shows and stuff.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Tanisha, hello.
Tanisha is in the chat. What is up, Tanisha? Always happy to have you here, my friend. For sure. Russell is saying, knowing them, they would raise Corey Cunningham back from the dead. And you never know.
I'm done with Corey.
John is saying, continuing after Ends would be diminishing returns. And I feel like any sequel to anything anymore is diminishing returns. I feel like as you go along, you just lose a little bit with each sequel. You just lose a little bit. And I think that, if you're diminishing returns from, Ends, if you're not a fan, then it's, God, wow. Okay.
And it's not like I hate Corey. I just don't look at him as Michael. I just that stuff. I'm hoping to put that in the past. They gave us some great stuff. They did. Yeah. But Michael, I'm with what you first said. I think they need to go back. Yeah, and John, I can't agree with you more, buddy. I think they need to go back, man. I hope that's what we get.
You know what I think a great example of diminishing returns through sequels, if we want to stick with horror, I think A Nightmare on Elm Street is a very good example of diminishing returns with sequels. It just seemed after, I love 3 and 3 excluded. I just feel like after that, each one just got a little worse, a little worse, a little worse, a little worse. To where like Halloween, my opinion, 1 and 2 was good, 4 was good, then 5 was bad, then 6 was a little better. Then you go to H2O, which in my opinion was a little better. Then you go to Resurrection, which just dived for me. So with Halloween, I think that a Nightmare was a very good example of diminishing returns for that, for sure. Byron is saying, I got an idea on how to pick up after ends. Mind if I message you guys about the pitch of mine? Hell yeah, dude. Hit me up on Instagram for sure. I'd love to hear what you got going on with that. Sure. Let's see. James is saying Michael kills the doctor and steals the TARDIS and goes back to prevent Laurie from winning the fight and ends. Michael kills the doctor and steals. Yeah, I mean, if he the yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Jerry's saying, how about a Nightmare in Haddonfield? Ooh.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
All right, let me just bounce this off of you, right?
Easy.
This made me think of something, okay? And this was something I did a stream with Polar earlier this week. We went in depth talking about Halloween Kills Thursday. If you haven't checked that out, go to my page and check out that video. It was fun. But we talked a little bit about this subject, and I'm not saying this is anything, but let's say that A24 gets the rights to Halloween, right? And A24 already has the rights to Friday the 13th because they do with Crystal Lake. You see what I'm going with that? You see where that could possibly go?
Now, truthfully, for me, that's what I would rather see. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it.
You and me both.
I'd love to see both. We saw Freddy. We saw Freddy take on an icon. I always love the because gosh, we're all horror fans. We've had these talks with our buddies and stuff. I always entertain the thought of Michael and Leatherface as well, or even Jason and Leatherface. I like that one too. But I see where you're going with that, Michael. I see where you're going.
It could be, I'm just saying, it's. I mean, what would it really take for it to happen? If one studio has the rights to both, all it would have to do is Michael would have to follow someone to Crystal Lake.
In the back of their mind, as soon as they get it's going to come up, and not that for us it's all about the dollar signs, but there's a lot of money to be made on something like that as well, I believe. Because after Freddy vs. Jason, I think they left us all wanting a little bit more of that. Not that because the movie was so, amazing or anything, but we all want that, horror fans, So a lot of Michael ass though, guys. Just I'll say it if nobody else is going to. He's going to kick his ass.
Anyway. Teresa Stevens is saying, are we sure they are going to make another Halloween movie, or is it a rumor? Right now, they're bidding for the rights to make movies, Teresa. So nothing's set in stone yet. They're shopping Halloween around to see, how much people will pay, for the rights to make these movies. So it's not in stone that there's another movie being made right now. They're just shopping around the rights.
But I think for what she's saying, Mother, there's going to be at some point another Halloween movie for sure. The money's there. It's just, I don't know when, but it's going to happen, guys.
I'd probably bet 99% of my shit on it. I mean,
yeah, it's going to happen.
Wayne Turner is saying, I wish we got Peter Jackson tonight on Home Street sequel. Well, yeah. Peter Jackson. You're talking Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson?
King Kong?
That would be interesting.
Did he do King Kong? He did, right?
I think he did one version of King Kong. I think he did the one with... Did he do the one with Jack Black in it?
I believe so. Like the 2007-ish, something like that.
Something like that.
Which I thought was phenomenal.
Jeff DeAngelo's in the chat saying, hello all. I apologize for my delay. No worries, Jeff. Just glad you're here, buddy. Always glad to have you here.
No, what the hell, Jeff? Get your shit together, buddy. Jeez. Start at 8 o'clock, dude.
Wayne Turner is saying Jason versus Michael, not much chatter. It'd be a quiet fight. Would
Not
definitely be a
much chatter.
quiet.
Yeah.
It would definitely be a quiet fight for sure.
Oh, dude, you imagine sitting in the theater getting ready to watch a Michael versus Jason, guys. Come on. Come on. I had the biggest popcorn and soda you could ever imagine. Just feeling like I'm 12 and that. Oh, yeah. Michael, I remember you talking about how much fun you had watching Freddy versus Jason, with the crowd being so split and everything. And, I don't remember my experience like that, but, hearing you talk about that had to be awesome, and that's what you want. You want a mixed crowd for something like that. Just hopefully nobody, breaks out in a fist fight.
Hey, dude. And I'll tell you what, the movie wasn't, great for substance, but if you just wanted to see the two icons throw down, man, it was definitely a good time. Still the best time I've had in a theater to this day. So 100% for sure.
Yeah. And back to, if you just want to see, it could be, I'd be in the theater for any, Chucky versus Leprechaun, I'm there. Annabelle versus Samara, I'm there.
I would definitely like to see it be more like when they did Freddy versus Jason, you knew it was a New Line movie, so definitely way more of a nightmare movie. I'd like it to be a little more
unbiased.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I just hope that, if we do get any more horror icon battles, that it does kind of go kind of 50-50 with that and not make one look so much better than another one, especially when it's unrealistic.
Yeah. And I didn't think about that till years later, but everyone was so right on that. It is a phenomenal nightmare movie, but they didn't do the best, to our boy Jason, but at the time watching that, it didn't click like that, but yeah, it's a phenomenal addition to Nightmare on Elm Street, which needed a something good at that point. So
yeah, because I think the last thing before that was what, Freddy's Dead.
Oh,
I think that was the last thing before that.
That's a train wreck of a film, man.
Was it Freddy's Dead or was it Wes Craven's New Nightmare? I think it was Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
You're right.
Yeah,
because that came after
Freddy's Dead. Yeah, sure. Jeff D'Angelo saying, was busy finishing up my outside Halloween display October 1st, and you're all over it, buddy.
I can't wait to see that, Jeff. You gotta send us pictures, man.
And Kaylee's watching. What's up, Kaylee?
Kaylee, good to see you. Good to see you. I hope you come in the shop and give me another good hug here soon. I miss you, girl. Glad you're on here.
Byron saying, just messaged you on IG. Okay, buddy. I will check that out as soon as we are done here for sure. Definitely check that out. Wayne is saying Jason Voorhees needs to get a job as a professional ice hockey goalie. Teams would die to have him on his team. I'd like to see him skate. See how that goes. You just stick him in one spot. It'd be freaking crazy.
Do you think he's got all the reflexes needed for that, man?
I don't know. I think he'd just kill anyone that got near. I think he'd just kill anyone that got near him. You know what I mean? The other team eventually run out of players.
They're not going to skate right on up there and try to sneak it in. They're going to be hitting that thing from half court, man. I ain't messing with that dude. No.
Danny and Dante After Dark is saying, yeah, Freddy was Ali in Freddy versus Jason. Yeah, it definitely was, a one-sided match for most of it, for sure. And then when they got in, Jason's home neck of the woods, they didn't even make him, that great. And it was just kind of disappointing.
No, they didn't. I was ready. I was ready for a beating. Because that's my favorite part in the film, actually, is Freddy's face when he realizes he is in Jason's territory.
Oh, that was perfect. I mean, that made the intro. Great. You watch the intro to my show; it's in there.
Yeah, he played that so great. He knew it was oh shit time. And his expression was perfect. I don't know how many takes they took, for that scene, but dude, it was perfect. And that gave me goosebumps, man. The music hitting and all that, but. Yeah, he needed to beat his ass way more than he did.
Oh yeah. I mean, I get it, but
got the movie, you know.
I get it. Neither side wants their boy to look bad, right? You know, neither side wants that. But the bad thing about it was Friday the 13th. You know, it wasn't Paramount anymore. It was New Line, and that's why they couldn't use Friday the 13th. You know, that's why you got Jason X and Jason Goes to Hell, and Friday the 13th wasn't in any of those titles, and even Freddy versus Jason. You know,
right.
There's no Friday the 13th in there, so
right.
But whatever. So Rob Zombie's Halloween, man. We should probably start talking about that. I mean, that's
I'm
why
ready,
we're here
buddy.
tonight.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Let's talk. You know, the people in the chat, they've always got great things to say, man, and it definitely pulled us off for a little bit. You know, I love hanging out with these guys, man, and trying to hit everything that everyone is saying. But you know, you guys all have some really good ideas. Definitely look forward to that. Rob Zombie's Halloween, dude. So I guess perhaps we better start from the beginning. Let me use some Rob Zombie terms there for you. You know, I'm a huge.
They play that song in their concert.
No,
did they play that Electric Head Part 1? Okay.
No, but that's definitely at one point when I was, you know, months and months and months ago when I was putting that intro together, I was trying to work that in there, but I was too worried about the copyright from it that it would just, you know, ding me for it. But before you know the Thug Life was an add-on after, you know, but when Movies and Beyond came up, or initially I had the perhaps we better start from the beginning, and then the Movies and Beyond comes up, and then the Joker comes out, like, and here we go, you know, but due to copyrights and stuff I couldn't put that on there, and then that's when Thug Life was born. And I don't know if I got the worst one or not, because people tend to like messing with the wrong melon farmers for sure. Thug Life. But anyway, so Rob Zombie's Halloween. So we get the very beginning. You know, we talk about that, and you kind of get a perspective of Rob Zombie's vision of what young Michael Myers' household. Michael's down. Michael is down.
What am I doing? Don't mind me, Michael.
All right, so you get Rob Zombie's perception of what young Michael Myers' home life was like, and it was kind of, you know, for me, I had no idea, you know, kind of what I was walking into. But you notice that he has I guess that's her mom's boyfriend. I wouldn't necessarily say it was his stepdad. Or, you know, did they really say on whether that was his stepdad or just his mom's boyfriend?
Well, you know where Judith stood on that. He was definitely not her father.
Right.
She made that perfectly clear. I got it as just a boyfriend.
Okay. I mean, definitely a different...
Great guy. Great boyfriend.
Fantastic. I mean, those are relationship goals right there, right?
Yes.
Those are relationship goals. You know, so definitely not...
supportive.
Definitely not the healthiest of circumstances to be in. You know, initially when the movie starts, you get you know, him yelling and screaming, her yelling and screaming. You know, he makes a pass at his stepdaughter / girlfriend's daughter. You know, and it's like you see Michael and he's in the bathroom, you know, cleaning off a knife because there's a dead animal in there. So that was the initial shot that you got, you know, into, and basically the first time we're really seeing a portrayal of Michael Myers' home life, you know, prior to becoming the Shape, prior to going off to Smith Grove. So how did you feel about, you know, I'm not sure you're going to be like, oh, it was fantastic. You know, like, I think it's a great role model. But what did you think of that approach from Rob Zombie to kind of create that atmosphere for Michael to be living in, you know, early on?
The first words that come to my mouth is hard to watch.
It is.
The breakfast scene is hard to watch. But that is typical, you know, Rob Zombie. He knows how to get in there and you know, he can do home life white trash like nobody's business.
Mm-hmm.
So now, granted, I was loving it. That I won't go into my whole experience, but I was very very stoked for this film to come out, and I'm still a Rob Zombie fan, but I was a real big Rob Zombie fan at the time. So I was taking it all in. I was watching the acting. I was really zoned in on Michael as a boy, and I thought, forgive me, I don't know the actor's name as the young Michael, but I feel like he did a fantastic job. Now, as hard as it was to watch, I didn't expect much different. I didn't expect him to have this, good morning, son. How are you?
Right.
Let me help you with your homework type of environment. So it was what I expected, but probably a little more cringy than I would typically like. So, I'm at this point, I'm just taking it all in, man. I'm taking it all in, as it is hard to watch, but I was enjoying it as well because, I was okay with seeing Michael's backstory. I was okay with that. So yeah, that's where I was, man. That's where I was. A lot was going through my head. It's a cringy moment, that whole breakfast scene. So at this point, I'm not loving it. I'm not hating it. It's kind of about what I was expecting, and I'm taking it in at this point, seeing where we're going to go with it.
Right. Now, the kid that played Michael, and this is going to kind of surprise you, because of how I'm not a fan of the first half of this movie, the first two parts, just for the simple fact of how I like Michael's story to go for me, right?
Right.
I think that the kid who played Michael, and I can never pronounce his name, I can spell it, but he has a name that's definitely definitely hard to pronounce, especially for me. But I think that that was a solid choice on casting. Like, if you're gonna have, he just had that look to him, to where if you are gonna go down that road that Rob Zombie went down to portray a young Michael in that situation, that I think that he did a really good job with that. And I think that his look was definitely, he kind of has a different look. You know what I mean? Do you understand where I'm going with that? But I think that look really fit the character that he was portraying in that. And to go back to the breakfast scene for me, yeah, like I had a tough time with it because I think when I went to the theaters to see this movie for the first time, and believe me, I was through the roof excited to see this movie when it came out. I was just like, hell yeah, we're gonna get Michael. They showed a few of the scenes in the trailer with Michael being a kid, but they didn't really expand on it. So I'm figuring, oh, they're gonna have flashbacks to that. I didn't expect the first hour of the movie to be, young Michael. And so I went in there, and I remember the first thing thinking, with the breakfast scene and, him carrying on, I just remember thinking, like, why is everything so loud? Like, this dude can't just talk regularly. Like, everything he says has an F-bomb or a C-bomb, and he's constantly screaming. You know what I mean? And it's just like, that kind of resonates with you to where it's just like, if I were to have lived in that house, I definitely would have probably left. Like, there's no way.
Yeah,
like,
going to school, you're gonna grab a hot pocket out the window.
You know what I mean? Like, there's absolutely no way. And then kind of the way Judith was, portrayed, to where I get that. You really don't care about you really don't care about your younger brother when you're a teenager, right? But it really felt like there was almost a detachment of family between the two of them as well. Like, you can hate your younger brother, but it's like nobody else can. But I didn't get that from her at all. I got like, I don't even want to ever look at you or, be around you or anything. And I think that, the division that they showed in that family was just like classic serial killer 101. Like the original Halloween, you go back to John Carpenter's vision of like, why, like, why? And then you watch, first 10, 15 minutes of Rob Zombie's Halloween, and you're like, oh, I get it. Like I completely understand how he became a serial killer. Like those are all the, the key elements. So, the kid ends up going to school, he's getting messed with at school, he's getting bullied, at that point too. So not only is he having a rough time at home, the only outlet he gets from being in that craziness that he calls home is school, where he's getting messed with there too. So he is just in a 24-hour bully situation. He's getting bullied at home, he's getting bullied at school, and it just seems like, yeah, I can totally see how, this kid's eventually going to snap and become, a killer. Is that kind of the way you felt when you started seeing that, like progressing, past breakfast, past, the original, the original opening, and then going into school and seeing what his life was like there?
Absolutely. 100%.
And even in that situation where he's in the bathroom, with the kids that are messing with him, I guess it was the principal, comes to break it up. And the first thing he does is cuss out the principal.
Mm-hmm.
So you can already tell, like, the anger is already there. And he's I think he's 10 years old.
Yeah, he's even up against the wall when the principal puts him there, and his like mouth is twitching. He's got so much anger, like, he's already almost about to snap.
Right.
Yeah.
So they get his book bag from him. They go through the book bag, and then you see 70s Loomis for the first time. Come walking through with the long hair and the beard to sit down with Michael's mom. And he sits there, and me, I'm not gonna lie, I laughed, the first time I saw 70s Loomis. You know what I mean? Like it was kind of funny, just for the simple fact that you never thought of like Loomis with hair. You never thought of Loomis, let alone, with the jacket and the sunglasses on. And I did laugh. And don't get me wrong, Malcolm McDowell, I think in the original, Rob Zombie Halloween, you know what I mean? Like, I think he did a decent job. I think those are tough shoes to fill.
Oh, God, yeah.
I mean, Loomis is Loomis. And anyone who thinks of Loomis, immediately it's Donald Pleasance. You know what I mean? So you're having to fill the shoes of an actor that has been the only actor to ever play that character, up until 2007 when Malcolm McDowell jumped in there to take that spot.
And that's where, for something like that, I just hope somebody does an okay job. Like, I don't look at them to be better than Loomis. Like, I just don't. Like, yeah, it's too big of shoes to fill. I just hope for somebody to do a decent job when it comes to something like that. And he did. I agree with you on that. He did.
Let's go through see some of the people are saying in the chat. Wayne Turner is saying the young child that plays Michael Myers was. I thought so too. I thought that he did a really good job at what they wanted him to do for that movie. I do think that. Eric from the Bearded Entertainment, what's up, dude? Glad you came by, man. Said a lot of people say it explains why Michael became the shape, but Judith didn't turn out to be a killer, and lots of killers have a wholesome upbringing, so it doesn't track. Well, we really don't know how long Judith has been in that situation with that guy either. Where it's kind of not like, I would say Judith's 17 at this point, 16, 17 years old.
Somewhere late in high school. That's how I took it.
And I don't think that he's the type of guy that she's been with for years. It doesn't really say that, she's probably put up with that for, too many years. So I think that maybe, and I'm not saying that, what I say is law, Eric. I'm just saying that maybe she hasn't had the exposure at the younger age, and she's less impressionable than Michael being at the age of 10 or 9 or 8 or whenever, she started dating. I mean, Judith probably looks at it like, oh, this asshole. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying he's the only reason why Michael came that way, but I do think that, he is a contributing factor. And we really don't know how Judith was treated at school either. She didn't look to me like she was in, one of the people that would, go to school and get bullied every day. She had friends, she had a boyfriend, obviously. So she was definitely sociable. So for me, there's too many factors involved with time and everything. So it's kind of tough with that. But Eric was also saying, I think that it's like Nordic, and yeah, I think it is. It's like Dag Ferric or something like that. I didn't want to say it out loud because I'm sure that I'm totally butchering it and it's completely unintentional. But his name is, it's not like John Smith, right? It's a little tougher to say.
So this is his first name, Nordic?
No, his Nordic is probably where he's from. So it's a Nordic name.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Nordic. I got you. I thought,
okay. His first name is Dag, like Daeg.
Okay.
Yeah. Wayne Turner saying when he kills the bully from school, that bully was in Spy Kids. Oh, I did not know that. Learning something new every day. Wayne is saying in the forced recasting of the Child in 2 was distracting. It was for me too, and we'll get to that when we get on to Halloween 2. Jeff is saying, it's definitely close to that for sure.
Okay.
James is saying the little creep cutting up rats, and then he'll tell his mom it died, and he flushed the poor thing down the toilet. Yeah, it was definitely a
messed up.
Definitely messed up. Wayne is also saying that kid is now acts and is a rapper. Oh well, I did not know that.
Okay,
I did not know that.
Right.
Teresa saying that's exactly how I see it, Michael, and that's the impression that it gave me. That was the impression that I got from, and I think 95% of the chance that was what Rob Zombie was portraying, for sure. Eric is saying that I love that Malcolm made his own Loomis. He didn't try to impersonate Donald's version.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I mean he had to, right? There is no way that if he came out acting just like Donald Pleasance that he would ever be accepted. And
it'd be weird.
It would be weird. And so technically, if you are going to play a character that is already, well known, you definitely want to make it your own. You kind of have to. You definitely kind of have to do that.
And Malcolm McDowell's no slouch, guys. Come on, he knows that. Like,
yeah,
but he had his own take on that. And I liked that. Yeah. Come out trying to talk like Loomis or even look like him, that'd be hysterical. That'd be a train wreck. That'd be a train wreck.
I'd like to see it. I would
be a train wreck.
I'm not saying I'd like to see it in the movie, but I'd like to see it. I'm sure. But so we've gotten to the point.
Michael, nobody can beat our Loomis impressions, man. Come on.
I don't know. There's some good ones out there, man. Let me tell you. like a drunken screamer that progressively gets worse as the series goes on.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. But so Michael gets caught with his book bag, and he's not being supervised while they're talking, and he just runs out of the school. And he follows the kid home that was messing with him, and he beats him with a stick until he kills him, and that's the first kill other than the animals of the franchise for that. So young Michael, wearing his clown mask, he gets his first mask kill. What did you think about that?
I loved it. I loved it. It was shot beautiful. I loved it. That's probably about where I was like, okay, we've got a Halloween movie. I loved it, Mike. And, I love the shot, where they go kind of in slow motion as he puts the mask on, for his, last few blows. And the kid had it coming, guys. The kid had it coming. So yeah, I thought it was shot great. At this point, I was loving Dag's take on young Michael Myers. I was loving, his acting ability as a young Michael Myers. And then we get our first kill, and I thought it looked great. It was perfect. They did the build up great because you hated that kid. He's walking, he takes the kid's beanie, spits in it, and tosses it. Like, I wanted to kill him. So that's where I was, man. I was starting to get on this Rob Zombie Halloween ride at that point, and I was ready for more.
Yeah,
I was ready for more.
So he gets back to his house. You could tell that his mom is very lenient on him. because he wants to go trick-or-treating. She still goes to work and says, things tomorrow are going to change around here. Well, I guess he took that as, well, it doesn't have to change tonight.
Does that mean you're leaving your boyfriend? Because that's the change that needs to happen, Mom.
So, yeah, and he pretty much goes on, he does his trick-or-treating. Judith refuses to take him. You're on your own. He goes out and he has that little moment, where he's sitting in front of the house on the sidewalk there. You get the music montage with his mom, dancing at work, and him kind of sitting there. I guess he's making that decision, like, I'm going to go in and pretty much kill everyone. And I will tell you this about Rob Zombie's Halloween is I did dig the soundtrack for sure. He definitely picked some bangers going into that movie for sure. And so, Michael goes in and he has, 4 people in the house, right? He has Judith, the boyfriend, the stepdad, and then, the baby, Boo, right? Which is Laurie Strode. And he goes through, who's he kill first? I think he kills the stepdad first, right? With the duct tape and everything like that, while Judith and the boyfriend are upstairs. What did you think of that whole sequence of him killing William Forsythe, laying on that chair, and kind of the way he did? Like, how were you feeling about that one?
I gotta say, again, a little cringy. But I gotta give it to Rob Zombie on that, man. If you're really watching, if you want to really get people to feel like this is really happening, I think he did it extremely well, and it's going to be something that shouldn't be super easy to watch, right? You're talking about a 10-year-old boy, going in and, brutally killing his entire family aside from his mother. So yeah, man, it should be a little hard to watch, and it was. But I absolutely loved him killing the stepdad. I just could not stand that guy. But as far as like Judith and her boyfriend, that was a little hard to watch, man. But again, I thought it looked good. I thought he did a great job. It was vicious. So again, at this point, it gives you that you're starting to see what route Rob Zombie's going with it. This isn't going to be the silent stalker, the non-bloody, like a 1978 Halloween. Right. At this point, that's all out the window. You're in for a completely different ride. So that right here's where I see where people are probably either going to love this movie or hate it. Because it's already starting to be just completely different than 1978's version of Halloween. So we're on this, we're taking a really nasty, brutal turn on Halloween, and and I was ready for something different as well, and I had no doubt that Rob Zombie, was going to do something different. So I wasn't floored, by him going, this brutal route. So I'm digging it, man. At this point, I'm digging it.
Right. Yeah. And I think that I could tell from the trailer when it came out that it wasn't going to be John Carpenter's Halloween.
I remember the trailer at least as well as you do.
I remember the trailer coming out and thinking like, wow, this looks different. This is going to be awesome. Because Michael looks so brutal in it. You know what I mean? And I was jumping on that bandwagon, like, yes, this is going to be something new, something, fantastic. It's going to kind of like pull it forward and be like more updated and, kind of like a TCM remake, that kind of popped in my head. It's going to be kind of like that. So, he kills his stepfather. The boyfriend comes downstairs to make a sandwich. He sits in his seat. And let me ask you this, and this is funny, right? So the only thing I could think of when he was making that sandwich was like, damn, man, how much meat are you going to put on that sandwich? Like, look around. It's not like we've got a whole bunch of money. It's like, who told you could be in my house eating that big ass sandwich? Right? Like if somebody came over to your house and they're like, I'm hungry, like, yeah, go fix yourself a snack. And you walked up and you had a big turkey sandwich. Like, it's like, damn, man, you just used all of our turkey. Like, there's no way. You know, and
that
that's
did
the
not
first
come
thing,
in my mind.
that's the first thing that came to my mind. You know, maybe it's how I grew up, you know, with the food and stuff that we had. It's just like,
I just
it
thought
made
he
me
could have washed his hands before he made it. That's all I was thinking.
it made me think of the Third Friday movie. Like, damn, what are you doing in my house? And who said you could make that big ass sandwich? You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing that popped in my head. But he ends up killing him too. And I mean, that swing with that baseball bat was vicious, man. I thought it was just like, wow, man, he cracked the hell out of him. So, what did you think about that whole sequence?
And the visual with him twitching, man, was just
yeah,
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I didn't expect anything less, you know, from Rob Zombie. It was brutal and it was graphic. It was very graphic. And Michael, this is something I would have been okay with either way, you know, because I'm a huge lover of, you know, the original 1978, where you don't have those gruesome visuals, you don't have blood everywhere, bodies twitching, you know. So that's not like something I'm not this big gore lover, so that is like a take it or leave it for me. But you know, I knew what route they were going. I enjoyed it. I felt a little bit bad for the kid, man. You know, he's trying to have a sandwich, you know, he's visiting his girlfriend and wham.
I mean, he was having a good day up until that point, right? He was up there with the girl. He's down there. He's about to eat this big ass sandwich.
Yeah, he was doing just fine. Doing just fine. So yeah, but this is where everybody in the theater should realize that it's everything's, you know, it's no holds bar, you know. Michael's not going to hold back. And I think and I kind of knew, I figured it was only going to speed up from here.
Yeah.
So
he knocks all that out, right? And, you know, he goes upstairs, and this is where he puts on the iconic Michael mask, you know, his little body, he's got this big mask on, you know, and this was the only part that, you know, like, I understand the stepfather. And even though, like, the boyfriend, it's like, yeah, okay, I get it. You know, he could have easily just walked down the stairs, went out the door, right? Like he did in the original. But I get it. I mean, I'd have hit him too if he was making a big ass sandwich in my kitchen like that. We didn't have money like that. But so, you know, he goes upstairs, puts the mask on, you know, Judith is listening to music. And the only thing that kind of cringed me out about that was like, why, like, Michael rubbing on her leg first. And I'm just like, just kill her. You know what I mean? Like, that, for me, you knew that he was going to kill her, right? But he goes up, she's got her back facing, and he starts rubbing on her leg, and she turns around like, stop, you know, thinking it's her boyfriend, and it's him. He stabs her in the stomach, which is, you know, pretty brutal as it is. And she ends up walking out, and, you know, you get the Halloween music as he's behind her, just slashing away at her as she's walking down the hallway. And to me, that was brutal as hell, right? Yeah. So how were you feeling about, you know, that whole scenario there?
Exactly what you're saying. I thought the leg rub was a little weird, you know. Rob Zombie, I hate to keep using that word cringy, but, you know, I feel like he might be the king of that. You know, you're watching a Rob Zombie movie, and there's just a lot of those moments where you're like, ugh. So it was, man. I'd say I was even a little shocked, you know, because even though we just got the vicious beating with the baseball bat, but yeah, how they shot that, it was vicious as hell. You know, she's walking down the hallway, she's got blood all over, you know, she's hurting, and he comes up and just keeps slicing. You can hear it, you can see it. I also thought it was a little strange with him being so young wearing the mask. I remember thinking that was a little weird.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't loving it.
Yeah, I wasn't either.
You know, because it just didn't look right. It looked very, very strange. I loved the mask. I thought the mask looked incredible. You know, but a big ass Myers mask on a 10-year-old, you know, boy frame just looked very weird. Similar to you know, Sartain wearing it. You know,
a little bit.
Kind of got a similar vibe with Sartain wearing it, but yeah, you know, he's killing the family. He's doing it. It's brutal. Michael's turning into Michael, and so I was also nervous to see what's going to happen when Mom got home. That was in the back of my mind. You know,
Right.
how is this going to play out? And I think they did it really well. You know, just flash into, you know, I'll let you take the reins, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And I couldn't have said it better myself, because I did enjoy the transition scene. So Michael kills Judith, brutal fashion, right? And you kind of get, you know, he grabs Boo, he goes outside, he sits down. The mom comes home, you know, Michael, what's going on here? And then you start to get those, like, the music's playing and the flashes of her screaming and seeing, you know, her dead daughter and screaming, my
Reporter,
baby. Yeah.
I thought
And
was
you get,
cool.
yeah, you get the reporter talking about it. And then you get that scene. And this is something that I love, you know, from a cinematic aspect, was how you get that scene where everyone's frozen. You know, they're playing the music and the camera is panning to the side to where it gets to the police cruiser. And the only person moving in the whole scene is Michael looks over at the camera, right? So I think that that was a real good fitting end to, you know, that sequence. Like, I thought it held a lot of weight. You know what I mean? Like, that scene was a very heavy scene, and you could feel like the tension and the sorrow and the, like, shock. Like, I know those are a lot of different adjectives I just threw in there, but you know, it carried a lot of weight, that scene did.
It
You
did.
know, and I think that he did it very, very, very well. And that kind of brings, you know, that act to a close, because after that, you know, you get, like, I think it's 1 year later where he ends up at Smith's Grove. So how did you feel about that whole transition scene, moving out?
God, Michael, I'm just agreeing with you left and right, buddy.
Yeah.
And
And I'm sure you know how I feel about this movie too.
I
So I'm
do.
sure
I
that
do.
it kind of
I
shocks
do.
you that I do find value
I
in a
do.
lot of what they did.
But this is, but I understand with our differences in horror movies. This is one movie particular where I'd say more than some others where I just 100% do see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
You know, with your negatives on the film, and you're not alone. I've realized that as well. I've talked to numerous people about this film, and it's one of those love-hate relationships. There's not a lot of in-betweens on this film, really. Yeah, I can't agree more that he ended it kind of almost beautifully. I was really impressed how he did that, you know.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if it would, you know, do I want to see her get home and, you know, run through the house and all this and all that? No, because we already got that. We got all that shock. We saw what happened. You know, we got all the main takeaways, you know, who he killed, in what order.
Yeah.
So I think it was ready to wrap that up.
It
you know,
was.
but you had to do it right. And yeah, with him being the only person moving in that still shot, I thought it was gorgeous. I thought it was really cool.
Great transition scene. 100%. 100% agree with you. Russell Dorsey is saying you don't have a police force. I love it, dude. Absolutely love it. The Shape is saying Michael uses a handyman's favorite tool, duct tape and a knife. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Wayne Turner's also saying that bully certainly picked on the wrong kid. For sure, man. For sure. If he only knew what was in the backpack, right? Eric from the Bearded Entertainment is saying Judith struggling down the hall while Michael walks after her, slashing her back, was very reminiscent of Sally getting away in the OG TCM. And you know what, Eric? I never really thought about it. I never put those two things together, but you are 100% correct, sir. It definitely was very reminiscent of that, for sure. I dug it. You know, I dug the music that they were playing at the time. You got that, you know, James's favorite dun dun dun, you know, as you know, he was coming behind her. And it was a good scene. I did enjoy
even
that.
to Fear the Reaper on her headset, you know, that was awesome as he walks in.
Wayne Turner saying he didn't kill his younger sister either, aka Baby, at the time. Yeah, he did not. He took her outside and was, you know, holding on to her for sure. Wayne is saying very brutal slasher, well done though. Yeah, for sure. Wayne is saying no point in making remakes the same as the original, and then you end up with remakes of Psycho and A Nightmare on Elm Street. I agree 100%. I definitely do. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head for sure. Russell saying, why can't they make a Michael Myers a sandwich too? Why couldn't he make Michael a sandwich? He might have saved his life. You never know. You never know. 100%.
He wasn't even going to take him trick or treating like 2 doors, down. He sure as hell was going to make him a sandwich. Oh man,
it's a big ass sandwich, man. I'm telling you. And I remember seeing it in the theater and thinking that's a big ass sandwich. And I was watching it Wednesday thinking that's a big ass sandwich. You know what I mean? It shows you my mentality hasn't changed on the subject. And it's funny. It's like, if I were ever talk to Rob Zombie about Halloween, I'd be like, dude, what's up with that big ass sandwich he was making? Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Guarantee he's never got that perspective before. I'm sure.
You gonna replace our ham or what, man?
Like what's up, dude? Like, I'd have hit him with that bat too. Like, we don't have money like that. Look around. Look at this asshole on the couch. Like, he ain't doing nothing. Like, seriously. Eric is saying, let's be honest. This is all Judith's fault. All she had to do was take Michael trick-or-treating. And, you want to blame somebody. She'd definitely be a good starting point for sure.
He was. I see what you're saying. He was going to snap one at some time. Either way, he was it was just brewing. It was brewing.
James is saying he won't be raiding the icebox at any time. His head looked like mashed potatoes. Oh yeah, or mashed tomatoes. Yes, it did. It did. Wayne Turner saying Trick or Treat died tonight. For sure it did, buddy. 100%. Russell is saying the new logo, Trick or Treating died tonight. I love it. Absolutely love it. Let's see. James is saying it was creepy seeing him in that mask. The mask was awesome and I loved it. I'm kind of impartial to that one. I just thought that it looked kind of ridiculous.
Strange on his body. But the mask itself, fine.
Yeah.
But it just looked weird. I've had younger kids come in like the shop and try a mask on, and it gives me that same image. It's like, no, you need a smaller mask, but it just looked weird.
Wade is saying Michael Myers and a Baby, a new comedy like 3 Men and a Baby, which was directed by Leonard Nimoy. I actually remember that movie, 3 Men and a Baby. That was Steve Guttenberg, Tom Selleck, and Ted Danson, if I'm not mistaken. I do remember that movie. I'm crazy. I can't remember what happened last Tuesday, but I can remember stuff like that for sure. The Shape says the new Michael Myers sandwich. Get yours at your local Burger King.
Love Burger King. We love Burger King, James.
Wade Turner is saying, I'm not your grandma versus where's my big ass sandwich. That's what I'm talking about, man. Hashtag where's my big ass sandwich. For sure. For sure. All right, man. So we're caught up on the comments. If I missed anything you guys put on, I do apologize. You guys are going pretty well, and we're kind of talking in between. But so you get Michael at Smith's Grove. We get that whole sequence there. With him showing up, that's when he starts his mask collection in there. You get a lot of Michael and Loomis one-on-one time where Michael is actually talking to Loomis, to whereas, in the original, Michael didn't say anything after, he killed Judith. He didn't speak. Like, Loomis made that apparent when he talked about him. Like, you couldn't get a word out of him. But in Rob Zombie's case, he kind of like turns into that while he's at Smith's Grove. He kind of starts to transform while he's there. And it, not to jump too far ahead, but in the same, sentence, when he's there with his mother, and Loomis is walking his mother out and Michael gets that kill in Smith's Grove. What did you think about that whole sequence?
So I'm gonna say this because this is an area where I can actually a point I can agree on with you a little bit. As far as everything up to this point, the Michael, being younger, the family life, going to school, Smith Grove. I was okay with all of it, but I also would have liked it all to have been shortened up somehow, because I love this movie. I think most of I absolutely love this movie. But I also do agree
Yeah.
As far as that, having the first hour of the movie being him younger was a bit too much. Like, don't get me wrong, I was okay with it all. The kills. I was okay getting the backstory. I even liked some of the interaction with him and Lewis at Smith's Grove. But this is something I was thinking about at the time of my first watch. At this point I was getting a little impatient. So yeah, that's what I have to say. I was okay with it all. I was wishing, I was ready to see the Halloween story.
Yeah.
That we all were ready to get. But as far, I thought I was on board with all of it, but at this point I was getting a little impatient. The kill was cool, I like how, and I also think he talked a little too much, like you said, he started slowly going into that, shell, but I would have liked to see him talk a little bit less as well. Like, I was okay with him talking as a young boy, but there was a little too much of it. And going into Smith's Grove, I was starting to think, let's wrap this shit up.
Yeah.
Let's get Michael older. Let's get the mask. Let's see Laurie Strode, Annie. So that's where I was at this point. I was liking everything, I guess, but I was over it in a sense. And ready to move forward.
It almost, to me, it almost made me feel like they spent so much time there that they had to rush through the stuff that we came to see, because the movie's 2 hours long and you only get, is it even 2 hours? It might be just a little under 2 hours. So, the first hour, I think it's 55 minutes before you see Laurie Strode for the first time in the movie. You're 55 minutes into the movie. Now, granted, I do watch the director's cut over the theatrical cut. That's the one that I own. So I watched that one. I have seen both of them, but that's the one I tend to watch. And, looking at that, it's just like, wow, man, we're 55 minutes in and I'm seeing Laurie Strode for the first time. You see Scout Taylor Compton. It was like 55 something. I remember looking at it when I was watching it the other day. And it just felt like we had to rush through too much of the stuff that I had come there to see. Like that, you look at the original Halloween, you spend like the first 15 minutes, less than that, on that stuff. And you're right into the main story where, you've got Loomis out in the wild. You've got, Laurie Strode. You've got time to really start building a connection to the characters. To where in Rob Zombie's Halloween, I felt like it was so rushed when people died, I didn't really care. Because I didn't have any connection to them because they were only in the movie for like 25 or 30 minutes, before they died. Like, I had zero connection to Linda or Bob, in this one whatsoever. Granted, Bob in the original, you didn't really have much connection to anyway. But Linda, you did. You kind of understood, how she was close with them. But with this one, it took so much time out of the beginning of the movie that I had, no real time to bond with the characters to feel an impact when they died. Like when Danielle Harris got just, near death in that movie, the only reason I cared was because it was Danielle Harris. I didn't really have any connection to that character of Annie at that point. It was just, I'm watching Jamie Lloyd get cut up by Michael and it sucks. You know what I mean? That was the connection I had. And that's from Halloween 4 and 5, not from the Rob Zombie film. It's just like, I don't want to see Danielle Harris in that situation ever. So it is tough. And it is a tale of two movies. It's almost like two movies in one. You have your first part and your second one. And it's almost a 4-act movie as well, too. You have your beginning act, then you have your Smith Grove act, then you have your Michael arrives to Haddonfield act, then you have your final chase with Laurie Strode, which I did find very good. Like, I did like the chase with Laurie. I thought that it was well done. I think that Michael was very brutal. I think that Michael was like 7 feet tall though. And I'm just kind of like, how are you going to miss this guy? Like standing on the street and stuff, like he's a giant. But I did like the brutality. And I did really enjoy the sequence between Tyler Mane and Scout Taylor Compton, when he was chasing her. Like, it felt gringy and dirty and it felt physical. It was a good sequence, but I've never had issues with that part of the movie. It was always, giving me the backstory that I just didn't, really want to know. But from that point on, as far as that, and I think that Brad Dourif did a freaking awesome job as Sheriff Brackett. You know what I mean? I think that
he did.
was. I think that he was one of the best parts of that. Like when he found Annie on the ground, like you could see the pain in his eyes as he dropped it. You know what I mean? Like he did so well with that. And hats off to the guy, man. Like he did fantastic with that. So I know I just kind of threw a whole lot at you there, but it's just trying to get my point across. There was so much there. But it's just like your segue into that with, yeah, you're right. It did take up a lot of time at the beginning, which condensed, all the stuff that we saw in the trailer and the big physical Michael. And I don't really feel like the time for the connection was really there. How did you feel about that? Like, were you able, in the time amount, were you able to connect with the characters? I mean, I know we watch things differently and we have different, views on it, but was that enough time to make you care about the characters?
No. And I totally see what you're saying. And I like that. I like that at times, when you can, because it makes a killing, have more depth, hold more weight, when you do care about the killer. But I guess with this, it didn't bother me, I guess, only because I knew, we know the story so well.
Yeah.
So I kind of, whether I like the character or not, I kind of know what their fate is and how it's going to turn out. So I could set that aside. As far back to Brad
Dourif.
I don't know. I don't think I ever say his last name right. Yeah, he absolutely, we forget sometimes how good of an actor this guy is, because with the Child's Plays, he's just doing the voice and stuff. But man, when he's in a role, he does absolutely smash it. And when you're going, and you made me think when you're talking about him with Annie, you absolutely felt it.
Yeah.
And the same with Scout. When she was holding Annie, saying, "Stay with me, stay with me." I thought she was killing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely killing it. And I might even, say the opposite of what I just said. She was so good. I really enjoyed Scout as Laurie Strode. So I'd say with her there was enough time, because I did really like her. I don't know if it was just I thought her acting was so. And I've seen Scout in some other stuff, and I'm not, and she's okay, but I think she shined as Laurie Strode. I really do. But you're right. They did not give you enough time to actually care about Linda, Annie, the whole cast by any means. But I was okay with that. Now, one thing I've got to point out is, I love a good visual, especially with a slasher. And Tyler Mane as Michael Myers in The Mask and everything, he looked fantastic. He looked so good. And up until, from 78, we've had some weird stuff, as far as The Mask goes, we've had, look at that. Like, oh man, that's unreal. Like,
yeah. I mean, it definitely looks good. Like, he looked great. A little big for, my taste of Michael. Cause he's what, like 6.
Man, I say he is 6'7".
6'7"?
He is 6'7". He's a big boy. And you're right on that too. Like I was okay with him being big and brutal, but if someone says that's not how I vision Michael, I get that. Nick Castle's probably like 5'10". The original Michael is like a guy that,
it's like my size.
Anywhere.
Yeah, he's literally like my size.
From anywhere. So yeah, to go to that, but I kind of figured that'd be something Rob Zombie would do. Let's just make this guy a beast. So, but he did. He looked so great. He looked so great and scary, menacing. I also like the sequence, with them at the house when the officers show up and all that, where Michael gets shot and just walks right through it. No, I loved that. you know, and him carrying her away, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And Tyler, not just his look, he I like how he portrayed Michael as well.
Very brutal and physical.
I think he did a fantastic job.
Yeah, he was very brutal. He was very physical. He was almost like very Jason-esque. You know, like a train that's gonna start moving and not stop. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was he was very brutal and very strong.
If
Man.
Jason and Michael ever duke it out, that's the Michael I want to go up against Jason for sure.
Either that or the Kills Michael. You know,
think,
one of those two.
Yeah. I just think the Nick Castle version might just get picked up and cracked over his name, man. But yeah, I'm loving it at this point. I'm starting to see, you know, what we all came there to see.
Yeah. And I mean that's what I was waiting for, you know, the entire time. So it's just like, come, like you said it best. You're just like, come on, let's go. I get it. You know, he's gonna turn into a psychopath. Let me see that psychopath. Let me see him out in the wild. Because even when, you know, you see, you know, Laurie Strode for the first time, like I'm happy that, you know, you were able to build that connection, you know, with her. You know, I unfortunately wasn't. You know what I mean? She was definitely a different Laurie Strode. Not saying it was a bad version, definitely different. You know,
and I'm not saying some dying love connection by any means.
Yeah.
I just had some connection. Like,
yeah. And I mean, I think there were a lot of, you know, dialogue choices that I probably, you know, would have done different. But, you know, like I always say, you know, who am I? I'm just a guy sitting behind a microphone, right? In front of talking to you guys about Halloween. But yeah, man, like I think that, you know, the biggest thing, and we're going to have to do a continuation of this show because we're not going to have enough time to get through, you know, all of Rob Zombie's 2. And I don't want to really cut that short. You know what I mean? So let's work something out after this show and we can just do Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 because I definitely want to get to it, but I don't think that we've wrapped this one up yet because there's so much, you know, going on with this and I don't want to cut it short. But you know, you get Michael. We've talked about, you know, Annie's death. You know, we talked about that. We talked about Smalley about Linda and Bob. You know, they decided to go into the Myers house and, you know, the worst possible place that you could pick.
Mistake, you know, number one.
To hang out. You know, they go there. But I get it. They're kids. It's supposedly abandoned. You know,
and he's trying to get his van fixed up, Michael. You got to give him some time. You know, he's trying to so they can party in there. He's trying.
He's working on it. You know, he should have been friends with the guy from Halloween 2, right?
Isn't that what he says going in? He's like, I'm going to get the van fixed up anyway.
But I mean, he should have been friends with the guy from Halloween 2. He already had the shag wagon, you know, hooked up and together there, right?
He did.
So we go through that and, you know, I really enjoy the girl playing Lindsay Wallace. You know, when they go into the house, they open up the door, and the guy's hanging there, you know, with the pumpkin on his head.
Yes.
And her reaction as a child actor was awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you get the whole sequence that we talked about with Scout finding Daniel Harris on the ground, and then all that emotion. And then Michael, you know, pretty much chasing them through the house, you know, getting them cornered in the bathroom. The police show up. You know, Michael kills the officer and gets away with Scout at that point. And I thought visually that was awesome. The scene with him carrying her down the street, the way that was shot, I thought it was absolutely beautiful. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. So that whole sequence there, you know, as far as Michael being in pursuit of Laurie, Lindsay, and Tommy, how did you feel that scene went? Did you enjoy that one as well?
I actually still want a poster of that scene where he's carrying her away. I'm right there with you. It looked so good. And yeah, I'm okay with everything. Yeah. I'm okay with everything at this point. I'm you know, I love this film. I was zoned in at this point, man. And you're right. And it's something I didn't really think about, but the Lindsay Wallace, she was great. You know, I even liked her interactions with Daniel Harris, you know, the little sassy, you know, she was phenomenal. So was Tommy, man. You know, I had no issues with any of the characters as far as like acting ability and all that.
Right.
I think he did a great job across the board. But I love the officer showing up, you know, where I like the guy gets stabbed through the door and the blood goes on the, you know, you can see it through the door and all that. I thought it was awesome. I loved him shooting Michael and him walking through it like an absolute beast. I thought that was awesome. Yeah. You know, he does a little grunt and just goes right after him. And then to end that, you know, with him carrying her away, I thought it was great. I thought it was great.
It was. It was definitely awesome, man. And like I said, you know, I can definitely appreciate, you know, good cinematography, and that was, you know, a prime example. It was beautifully shot. You know,
and here's something I gotta say. I don't want to forget because I feel like it's almost a shame. Because now that we're really talking about this, it's a shame. I hate it for you that, you know, getting so much backstory bugged you as much as it did, because I feel like, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you take that out, you look at this movie as pretty solid.
Pretty decent, yeah. I mean, it definitely comes down on my list, you know, a couple spots. You know, if you don't get that opening sequence, you know, I put this above Halloween 6. You know, I do. But the fact that we spent so much time on stuff that I didn't really want, you know what I mean? And it's just like, man, that's half the damn movie, you know, if not maybe just over. And it's like, wow, man, like some of the things they did in this movie were really good. Some of the scenes, some of the, you know, shots were really good. You know, I really loved it. I love Danielle Harris, you know, like I was telling you, you know, it could have been, you know, in my opinion, of course, you know, it just could have been so much better. I think that they had a lot of the material, but to me, it felt like they shot so much of that early footage and they were kind of like, oh shit, we've already burned 55 minutes of this movie. We need to get this started and wrap it up real quick, you know, and knock this out. And that's definitely how it portrayed on screen to me, you know, that it was very rushed at that point. Like, we're going to rush through this, we're going to rush through that. And I felt like some of the scenes in the movie were throwaway scenes as well, too, that they didn't really, you know, hold any weight in the movie whatsoever. There was just a couple little scenes in there that's like, it really doesn't matter if this is in there or not. You know, you could focus more on this aspect of it, you know, building my relationship with the characters instead of showing, you know, this over here, that over there. And definitely something that I didn't notice, you know, prior to me watching it the other night, you know, because I always want to watch it before we do these shows so I can be as, you know, fresh as possible to, you know, talk about this stuff. But it's just like, man, some of these are throwaway scenes to where if they would have done this, and this, it would have made it even better. You know, but again, you know, it's all opinion based on my end for sure. But let's catch up with the chat because we have been going for a few minutes here. James is saying, that sandwich was tiny compared to what I can stuff down my pie hole. Hell, I ate 3 Whoppers at one time. Damn, James. 3? I think in my best, I've only done 2.
Like, come on,
I've only done 2 at my best, and I felt damn proud of myself for doing 2.
Wow.
For sure.
3 Whoppers.
Wayne Turner said, I'm still deciding on who is more annoying, Rob Zombie's wife or Will Smith's son after The Pursuit of Happiness. Good God. I might get the 4-disc Blu-ray box set of Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2, 2 cuts of each movie. It's an Australian special release. That's awesome, dude. I know Walmart just released a steelbook of Rob Zombie's 1 and 2. And you guys know I love steelbooks, so I will be copping those at some point, and I'll do a little video when I get them for sure. Lydia's saying he definitely looks like he would come into your home, make a giant turkey sandwich, and just stare you down while he eats it. Yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah, he does look like he'd do that. James is saying, I got the steelbook set of Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2 unrated director's cut on Blu-ray. Probably won't open it. Don't hesitate to open those, James. Steelbooks are fantastic.
James has got one killer Michael Myers collection, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if he himself knows how great it is, but man. Hopefully James can get that for us all on a video one day to view, because this is a guy that's been collecting Michael Myers stuff for a very long time.
That's awesome.
So it's got to be an impressive collection.
Wayne Turner saying the CGI mask in Halloween H2O was terrible. Mask in Rob Zombie's Halloween looked great. I agree, man. I agree.
CGI
100%.
does not need to be touching Michael Myers' face.
Yeah.
Or Freddy Krueger's.
Wayne is saying the ending is good. End credit scenes are interesting for sure.
I like those. I liked them. I did.
The Shape is saying I love the Rob Zombie Michael, and I got 2 custom made masks. One is the Dream Sequence mask, and the other one is the one he wears in the first movie. Sweet.
Yes, he does.
Sweetness.
They are gorgeous.
Everest Universe is saying finally made it. You got this. Welcome aboard.
Absolutely.
Welcome aboard.
We're having a good time on here.
Darkroom Secrets is saying night all, long day tomorrow. Everyone have a great week. Good night. And thanks for coming and hanging out with us for sure.
Absolutely, Kim. Thank you. Have a good night.
The Shape is saying if you like the Rob Zombie Myers mask, Tots makes 4 different versions of them. Yes, those were the ones we were talking about earlier in the show, correct?
Yeah, Michael. I'll just say that the ones they have real quick. It's awesome. They nailed it. They got the clean version that he puts on, at the very beginning. Mm-hmm. Then they've got the one he gets out of the floorboard later on, and they do my personal favorite, the Dream Sequence, and Rob Zombie's 2. And then they do the old. It's kind of crazy to look at because it looks like it's crazy that you'd pay $70-$80 for this mask, but they have the ripped, the stripper version where she rips the face off. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's literally half a mask, Michael, but it's pretty cool to see, So those are the 4 they have. They're awesome.
Yeah, that's super cool, man, for sure. Wayne Turner is saying, I don't mind the backstory, but yes, it went way too long. I do. Well, yeah, it was too long. Lydia's saying, forget Dr. Loomis, get Matt out there. He's taking out Myers left and right, no problem. I guess that's you knocking out the mask probably like twice now. You got this, man.
Yeah, I like him to be in view, but man, he's awful close. I need a new chair, Michael. Remind me to get a new chair because after a while, man, my butt is killing me and I'm shifting around.
So the bad thing about my chair too is it's old and I need a new one. What happens in my chair is as the show goes on, it gets lower and lower because like the hydraulic is starting to give out a little bit and it doesn't set that well. So every now and then you'll see me go like this. You'll see me do that, and that's me lifting the chair back up because I'm sinking lower and lower and lower.
Yeah, Mr. Bean, where he's in that like serious meeting and his chair malfunctions and just keeps slowly going down, where he's just like a head at the desk, like dude,
that's how my chair is, dude. Like seriously, like it's getting to that point. Seriously,
the end of it will just hear you. We can't even see it.
You just see like the top of my cap sitting down like super low right here, and it's like I'm tired of messing with this thing. Either that, or I just set it low and I'll start sitting on phone books. Can you still buy phone books?
I haven't seen
a phone book in 10 years.
Some new chairs, man. Let's get some new chairs.
Definitely
upgrade our stuff.
Yeah. But so let's go ahead and wrap up, the first Halloween and, talking about these in depth as we do, man. Sometimes we go a little long, but I feel like it'd be another hour by the time we really got through Halloween too, for sure. So I want to we'll talk backstage after this is over about when we can get together and do a, maybe a quick Halloween.
That's a nice decision. I like that, Michael.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to rush it either.
Yeah. You definitely don't want
this beautiful film, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Saw it, didn't like it. That's it. Goodbye, everybody. No, I'm just kidding. Of course.
I actually, as strange as it sounds, I sometimes I feel like I can enjoy talking about a movie I dislike.
Yeah.
Just as much as a movie I like. Going into the reasons why and what could have been or whatever. But yeah, it's cool.
Watching that movie through, I think some of the things when we do end up talking about, I will surprise you with, on some of the things I did like about that movie. But there are definitely some issues with that movie. Seriously. And it makes me, I'll watch Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 10 times before I watch Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Seriously. Like, I think that there are good things about this movie, as much as it's, it's never high on my list. And, it has to do with, the early parts of this movie. I feel like, man, if they cut that down to like 15 minutes, man, if they got through, some of that stuff in like 15 minutes, I think this would have been a much better movie and definitely, higher on my list for sure. 100%.
Yeah, I might surprise you as well. Cause it's all over the board for me too. It's like, this was cool. This was terrible. Like,
But I mean, one thing it does do is it gives you a lot of things to talk about. Like Rob Zombie's Halloween, and I will give it props for this. It falls along the lines of, a lot of Halloween movies to where you're like, this is great, but I didn't like this. This is great, but I didn't like this, And it goes with, what I always say about Halloween is it's like a roller coaster, man. There's like no consistency whatsoever through this franchise. It's just, you just never know what you're going to get. The one thing, I will say about Friday the 13th was you pretty much had an idea what you were going to get. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't as great as Halloween at its greatest moments, but it wasn't as bad as Halloween at Halloween's worst moments. You know what I'm saying with that? Like it was kind of like even keel with that. But yeah, so wrapping this story up with Halloween 1, and I definitely, we both apologize for not getting to Halloween 2, but we will put another show together for sure to cover Halloween 2. You get the final chase scene with Laurie Strode and Michael. He gets her into the house. You've got the tombstone there. You have Linda's body next to the tombstone. She's in this like basement with that picture of Michael and her as a baby, and he's trying to show her like, hey, we're related, this and that. But she's not having it. You know what I mean? Whatsoever. She's at getaway mode, and you have a great sequence. The way that basement was set up and Michael coming through the wall and her tearing through the fence and everything. I like the abandoned pool in the back. I thought that was a great, sequence with that. So how did you feel about that whole sequence? Like, where were you at with that one?
Well, now you don't want me to go all the way to the end, right?
Yeah, let's get to the pool scene.
Okay.
When she gets to the pool scene and, Michael's coming down, you get the music playing, and he's walking down to her and Loomis takes a shot at him. Let's go up to that point.
Okay. Another one of my favorite shots is when he's walking down the pool. Mm-hmm. And I'm at the same spot where I was at. I'm loving it all. Yeah. Loomis is about to. Loomis shows up. He's firing at Michael. That's classic, man. And he's close to getting to Laurie Strode. Like I said, man, I'm loving it. I'm on board. I think he looks fantastic. The shots are great. Him and Loomis are finally literally battling it out. He's cracking rounds off at him. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it.
And I think this is really where Malcolm McDowell shines as Loomis, screaming at Michael, "Don't make me shoot you." He's screaming at him, pleading with him to not keep walking.
Samuel, all that.
You could tell that he genuinely cares for Michael, and he doesn't want to pull that trigger, man. And I honestly think that was one of the scenes that Malcolm McDowell shined. Is it shined?
As Loomis, I mean, yeah.
The most in that movie. He did very, very well. I do want to say what's up to Melissa. She jumped in the chat saying, "Hey, Michael and Matt, what is up, Melissa? How you doing?"
Welcome. Hello.
But yeah, man, like that was, to me, that was like, okay, he's feeling like Loomis. He's got the trench coat on with the collar up. You know what I mean? He's feeling it, and shoots Michael, gets Laurie to the car, and then Michael comes busting through the window and basically scares the hell out of both of them. And I know when they were filming it, it genuinely scared Malcolm McDowell too, as they were filming it. And it just looked great. It was a great shot. He pulls her out. You get the ending sequence pretty much. You think Loomis is almost dead until, he grabs Michael and Michael's dragging him like a little kid on his leg as he's going after Scout. Up until that point, it was great, man. I really enjoyed that sequence. It felt very Halloween to me. It felt very, it felt good. Like I really do enjoy that sequence of that movie. Very much. And then, you get the only thing I didn't understand was why Michael bull rushed, Laurie Strode, out the window and off the thing. Like, he kind of like Goldberg speared her, through the wall and, out onto the floor, out onto the ground where she landed on top of him. But ending sequence, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Do you even think that it was almost like I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The ending, the last scene, with the 2x4 going through the wall and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I didn't love it. I didn't love it as much as I love this movie.
Yeah.
I'll even, as much as I hate to say, I'll even say I thought it was a little weird. And then the bull rush, I did like this, the shotgun at the end and it just clicking off with her screaming. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
But just something about the, poking at her with the 2x4 and her hiding up in the, the ceiling and everything. I'll say I thought it was just a little strange, and the bull rush as well. Can you look at it as he was done and he just wanted, like, she's his last kill? If he kills her, he's kind of done with what he's trying to do. Was he wanting to just maybe take them both out, kind of thing, like like an F it, let's just, I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like it. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely see where you're coming from.
I also thought it was a little. I didn't love the final sequence, except that the shots of the face and her screaming with the blood and all that. That was really cool. But yeah, they're little, battling out there and with the. I'm okay with it, but I didn't love it, Michael.
I think a lot of those were reshoots, if I'm not mistaken. If there's any, Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween experts that know about, the way that was filmed and everything, I think a lot of that was reshoots and that was added in. And it did feel like, it was extensive. Definitely.
That felt rushed. Like that specific.
Yeah.
It
did.
Like almost like they didn't know what to do, but this will work.
But getting to the end, like you said, to where, she's got the gun, in his face and she pulls the trigger first, it clicks, and then she pulls it again, he's boom, you get the shot, you hear the sirens, the police are coming, but it kind of just pans back into like the family videos. I thought that was a great way to end the movie. It was definitely Rob Zombie showing that he is a good director. I think that, he knows how to put those shots together, and it very smooth, like the transition scene we talked about before, with the stillness into Michael's face when he turns and looks. I felt like it was another fantastic transition. You get the music starting, as it shows the, the home videos. And I thought it was a great way to wrap up the story. Like he wasn't planning on doing a Halloween 2, and you could tell that by the way Halloween 1 wrapped up. You know what I mean? I just thought that it ended on the perfect note like that. I felt like it did. So how did you feel about that ending and that transition and everything?
Same.
Yeah.
Same. Beautiful transition. That's the final end, the gunshot, all that. I liked it, but also in the back of my mind, I was like, damn, because I always want more Michael. That's just no matter what happens when he dies at the end, I'm going to be immediately thinking, well, damn it, don't do it too, make sure there's some room for him to come back. And I didn't look at it. I did not expect Rob Zombie to be making a part 2. I didn't. Yeah. I don't think anybody did. So I enjoyed it. A little sad at the same time. He just put a bullet in his head. We're done. So, but it looked great. And, you got to choose that Halloween music at the right time. That was a great time to kick the music in. And, I liked the family shots that really gave you that drama. And like, I always felt for Mrs. Myers, man, I always felt for her. Like it was just, could you imagine? From when he's saying, how's everybody at home, Mommy? And she's trying to like hold back her, like, dude, I felt for her the entire time, and then going back to watching them family videos, that's what she was watching before she, did herself in, she's trying to remember Michael as the fun-loving kid that she got at some times, I guess, when he was younger, you know. So I thought it was great to end it that way.
I did that. If I were to complain about anything, though, you know, with this movie, I think that one thing they did that I didn't like was they made me feel sympathy for Michael. You know, they made me feel that, and I just feel like through Halloween, you know, you should never feel sympathy for the Shape. And I think that, you know, some of those transitions, as beautiful as they were, it kind of made you feel sorry. Like, no, what if this didn't happen? What if that didn't happen? You know, because when he was his best, Michael was a good kid. You know, he was a loving kid. You could tell by the way he was with his sister, you know, but he was a person of circumstance. You know, the circumstances around him made him who he was. You know, there wasn't any evil, or there wasn't any, you know, it was just the way he was brought up, you know, and the things that were around him that made him, you know, who he was. And as much as I do love that transition, it still made me feel sorry for him at the end, you know, because you get those family shots of, you know, Michael pointing at her stomach, you know, saying baby as the music's playing, you know what I mean? Like, he's so happy that she's going to have a baby. And it's just like, you know, an overwhelming sense of sorrow at the end of that is something that I never want to feel for the Shape. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's something else too with that. But man, overall, dude, like diving into Rob Zombie's Halloween, you know, this was definitely a good time, man. Especially talking with you about it, because I know that you're such a huge fan, man. It's so good to talk with someone that actually loves, you know, talking about, especially, you know, what we're talking about here.
Right.
It's absolutely great, man. And I had a blast tonight. Let's just go ahead and jump in the chat real quick one last time to see where everybody's at. Wayne is saying, true, I could talk about Scream 6 heaps, and I didn't like it very much. You and me both, buddy.
I get it.
Not a fan. The Shape is saying, eating raw German Shepherd. Come on, Michael, you could at least cook it up, put a little salt and pepper and garlic powder on it.
Something.
James is saying, has anyone seen Saw X? I have not seen Saw
X. I have not. It's on my list.
It comes out. When did it come out already?
Yeah.
It did. So that was a last week release. Yeah, because The Exorcist comes out this week, and they wouldn't put those out on the same day. Yeah, there's no way they do that.
Yeah,
so
Saw is out.
Wayne is saying, my gripes with Scream 6 are due to bad writing. Best writing aspects were opening and Sam, but so many issues. Yeah, I was
a lot
not
of
a fan
issues with 6, and a lot of great scenes with 6. But yeah.
James is saying, I like the scene when Michael takes off his mask and shows, I guess when he shows Laurie his face.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a fan of Michael taking the mask off, though. Like, that's not a big one for me.
Michael, what did you think about him jabbing the 2x4 around?
When she was in the ceiling and then she came falling down.
A little weird, or like
it was. I mean, I get it though. I mean, she's trying to get anywhere she can to get away, but you know, it was different. I'll give him that. You know, I'll give him points for creativity and being different. But
okay, I just didn't know if I was alone.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, and I can, you know, somewhat agree with you on that for sure.
I mean, but then again, what do I want him to do? Get a ladder out and like, you know?
Hang on a second, I'll be right back. He goes to the garage and pulls out a ladder. Yeah, get awesome. Wayne is saying, I have seen Saw X approximately 4 days ago here in Sydney, Australia. Sweet, man.
And
I know he left it. Wayne left it cold too, because his next comment is, thanks guys and everyone in the chat. Looking forward to the chat on part 2. All right, buddy, you have a good one, man. And let us know what you thought in the comments section. Not only about this, but what do you think about Saw X?
Yeah. Sure. Take care, Wayne. Thanks for stopping by, buddy.
James is saying the scene when Laurie shoots him in the face and all the blood flying everywhere freaks me out, screaming, poor girl was a train wreck. I agree, man. I definitely agree. And
it shows on the second film
it does, almost to a point of where it's just like, okay, I get it. Like, it's like, good God, man. For the love of God.
Does a freaking 180.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. Well, Matt, another great show, buddy, and I had a great time tonight, man, for sure.
Same here, man. And if I don't say it enough, I love all you good people on here, and I know Michael and I both appreciate you guys very much.
100%. 100%. But be looking on the channel probably later tonight or tomorrow. I will get a thumbnail up once me and Matt lock a date down to talk about Halloween 2. I'll try to get that thumbnail up tonight before I go to bed so we can, lock that in and get that taken care of. Because I'd really like to get that taken care of before we do our Thorn stream. We have the Thorn trilogy that we'll be doing next Sunday, where we're talking Halloween 4, Halloween 5, and Halloween 6. The Circle of Thorn trilogy. Definitely looking forward to that one. And then, we're in Halloween celebration month, man. So we have, the following week, we'll have Halloween 1 and 2, the original and part 2. And then we will have touched almost all the Halloween movies for the month at this point. So
what a great way to kick off October, guys. I mean,
what I'm talking about. And then that's going to slide right into Scarefest. And when we come back, Matt, I haven't told you about it yet. Actually, I'm not going to talk about that yet. I'll talk about it next week, but I'll tell you backstage when I get back there. But there are big plans for the channel on Sunday, October 29th, before Halloween. That'll be our Halloween show. And there are some big plans for that. We'll be having some cool guests to come over, and we are just going to talk Halloween past, present, and future, and where we would like to see the franchise go. So definitely will be a great show. Everybody, I want to thank you again for coming out tonight. It's been another great show. Matt, my friend, I will talk to you backstage, and everybody else, see you next time. Peace.